thinking about starting a podcast, you don't know where to start, you don't know if there's a place for you, it feels saturated, like all of these things. Again, go back to like your why, like why do you want to do it? Because if you don't do it for why you want to do it, you won't find enjoyment in it and you won't be consistent. And they're the most important things. Like you've got to enjoy doing it. Otherwise you'll do 3 episodes. I think the like 90% of podcast producers don't get past episode 3 or like some crazy stat like that. So I mean, I imagine for most people, they thought it was a good idea. It was actually quite a lot of effort and they gave up on that one. So I think knowing your why, knowing why you want to do it and knowing who you want to talk to. And I think that's really key at the start. Like you're not going to speak to everyone. That's not how it works. That's not how social media works. You can't throw out content and just hope it gets picked up by some certain audiences. I think you have to have a good idea of who you want to speak to. Like if you're on the street, the type of person you'd want to speak to, whether that's an age range, a demographic, an industry professional, or like what career they're in, what stage of life they're in, motherhood, whatever it is. I think it's helpful to have that in mind because there are millions of podcasts out there and you will be competing for audience because there's more podcasts than we can ever consume in our lifetime. So I think having a good awareness of where you want to fit in, and then you can kind of mold that as you get started. The most important thing is just consistency. Like anyone I ever speak to, it's like, oh, you know, we did a season last year. I think we'll start it up again this year. What's the point? It's like posting an Instagram post, not coming back for you and expecting your audience to still be waiting. As I said, there's so many podcasts out there. You need to be so consistent with what you're doing if you're serious about it and if you do want to grow and if you do want to nurture that community, because it depends why you're doing it. Some people want to produce a podcast and it be their main thing we do, Diary of a CEO, main thing we do. Or maybe it's a growth mechanism for your brand or a lead gen magnet or like whatever it is. You need to know why you're doing it and what you're doing it for as part of your overall business strategy. I know some people who their business strategy is just to go on people's podcasts to leverage their audience to grow their business without actually having their own podcast. Like it's another media channel and it's another marketing opportunity essentially. So I think being clear on what role it plays in the direction you're going as a business, whether it is the business or it's an element of it, and what you're hoping to achieve from it, and you know, setting those goals, setting those KPIs and working towards them consistently. Like there is no point if you're podcasting and releasing one today, releasing one in a couple of weeks, taking a break, coming back next year, rebrand 3 episodes in. Like if we see it over and over and over, you wonder why, you know, the biggest podcasts in the UK from a year ago, 2 years ago aren't around anymore because they just stopped. They just stopped being consistent. They decided to go to once every, 3 weeks, every so often, maybe drop in a solo episode or whatever. They just lost their standards. So I think going with your standards, going with your why, going with knowing what part of your business strategy it plays, and like you'll be pretty good. You'll be already in the top 3% of podcasts worldwide.